You are looking at the calendar right now, and there is a specific date that won't leave your head. You feel like you've missed something important. That time has passed too quickly, that other people your age have already reached places you are still trying to reach. And deep down, an annoying voice repeats the same phrase: you are behind. I am going to tell you now with total clarity what no one has told you. You are not behind, you are being awakened. And that is exactly why this video appeared to you today. There are 3 things you need to understand in the next few minutes. The first is why this feeling of being behind is not the real diagnosis of your current moment. The second is what the Bible, in Hebrew and Greek, says about the time you are living in right now. And this completely changes the way you read your own story. And the third is what you need to do starting today to stop chasing a clock that was never yours. If you hang in there until the end, I promise you will leave here with a clarity you didn't have when you started. But for that, you need to let your guard down. You need to stop defending yourself from your own life. Let's start with the symptom, because before anything else, I want you to recognize yourself in what I'm about to describe. You pass a certain age, it could be 35, it could be 40, it could be 50, and you start making silent comparisons. You open your messaging app, see a photo of someone you went to school with or worked with and think, he's already there. He already has a house, he has children, he has stability, he has a career that seems solid, and you look at your life and it looks like a puzzle with loose pieces on the table. You wake up in the middle of the night for some time now and stare at the ceiling. 3 o'clock, 3:30, 4 in the morning. Thoughts hit your head like a hammer. You review decisions you made 10, 20 years ago. Marriages, divorces, career choices, moving cities, opportunities that appeared and you didn't see. And a strange feeling tightens your chest. What if I had done things differently?
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you who were tired of living in the fog. Ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.
You have recurring dreams. It could be a specific house that keeps coming back. It could be a place from your childhood. It could be a person you haven't seen in years. You wake up and think it's just a dream, but deep down you know there is something wanting to be said. You have conversations that keep echoing. Someone told you something in a meeting, in a hallway, in a bank line, and that specific phrase hasn't left your head for days. You don't even know the person well, but the phrase stuck. You have obstacles that seem absurd. You prepare, you plan, you do everything right, and at the last minute something gets stuck. A document that goes missing, an answer that doesn't come, a person who changes their mind. You get frustrated, angry with God, thinking you are being punished. And the worst part, you feel like all of this is happening in silence. No one around you seems to notice. Your family looks at you as if you are just going through a phase. Your friends think you are being dramatic. Your spouse, if you have one, perhaps no longer knows what to say. If you recognized yourself in any of these points, you need to understand one thing before continuing. None of this is disorganization in your life. None of this is being behind. All of this is a diagnosis. All of this is a symptom. And a symptom without an identified cause is what makes anyone go crazy. Before I show you the cause, let me ask you one simple thing. Subscribe to the channel now. This work I do here is built for people like you who are in this phase of reviewing their own history, and the channel can only continue delivering this type of content if you hit that button. It's one click, it makes all the difference. Now let's get to the cause. Because if you don't understand the cause, you will spend your whole life treating symptoms. Most people who feel what you are feeling right now are trapped in an old problem, one that is over 2,000 years old. It is the confusion between two types of time. And here, I need to be very specific, because this confusion is the root of everything. The Greek language, which is the original language of the New Testament, has two different words for time. The first is chronos, written chronos. Chronos is chronological time, clock time, calendar time. It is the time you measure when you look at your age on your ID card. When you say I am 42 years old, that is chronos. When you say I am behind, you are measuring your life in chronos. The second word is kairos, written keros. And here lies the key to everything. Kairos is not the time that passes. Kairos is the right time. It is the opportune moment. It is the instant in which something matures and is ready to happen. The ancient Greeks represented Kairos as a figure with hair only on the front of his head. The back was bald. The symbolism was this: the right moment, once it passes, you can no longer grab it by the hair. But when it is coming toward you, you need discernment to recognize it. When the New Testament says that Jesus came in the fullness of time, in Galatians chapter 4, verse 4, the word used in the original Greek is not chronos, it is kairos. It wasn't just any moment on the calendar. It was the mature moment in history. When you feel like you are behind, you are measuring your life by the wrong standard. You are comparing your kairos with the chronos of others. And this is one of the greatest sources of spiritual suffering in our generation. There is a biblical figure who shows this crystal clear. Her name is Esther, and her story is one of the most underrated in the entire Bible. Esther was a young orphaned Jewish girl raised by her cousin Mardochai in Persian exile. She had no royal pedigree, she had no career planning, she had no strategy for social climbing. By any metric of chronos, she was behind. She was a foreigner in an empire that wasn't hers. But then King Asuero deposes Queen Vashti, holds a selection among the young women of the kingdom, and Esther is chosen. She becomes queen. That's fine. She could have stayed there, living in the comfort zone of the palace. But then Haman appears, the villain, who orchestrates a plan to exterminate all the Jewish people. When Mardochai sends word to Esther, she hesitates. She says that if she enters before the king without being called, she could die. She was afraid. She was measuring the risk in chronos. And then Mardochai sends that phrase that changed history. He says, in Esther chapter 4, verse 14, "Who knows if it was for a time such as this that you have come to the kingdom?" That word time in the original Hebrew text carries the same conceptual weight as kairos. It wasn't just any moment in Esther's life. It was the mature moment. It was the point of convergence. It was the hour for which she had been prepared without knowing it. What looked like being behind an orphan, a foreigner, a young woman with no name, was actually preparation. Every single thing that seemed like an accident in her life had a purpose embedded in it. And when the kairos arrived, God didn't need to improvise. He just needed her to wake up. You need to ask yourself this question right now. What if the things you considered failures, delays, missed opportunities were actually preparation for a time such as this? This question hurts. I know it hurts, because it requires you to reinterpret a part of your history that you had already catalogued as defeat. And here comes the second word, which is Hebrew and is one of the most beautiful in the Old Testament. The word is pakad, written pakad. Pakad is translated in Portuguese in several ways, depending on the context. It can mean to visit, to care for, to look after, to remember someone, to commission for a task. The word pakad appears, for example, in Genesis chapter 21, when the text says that the Lord visited Sarah as he had said. That visitation was the arrival of Isaac, the promised son. Sarah was 90 years old. In Chronos, she was way behind. In Kairos, she was right on time. The word pakad appears again in Exodus chapter 3, when God appears to Moses in the burning bush and says, "I have seen the affliction of my people, I have heard their cry." The meaning behind it is pakad. God remembered, God is visiting, God is going to care for them. When you feel this internal awakening that you are feeling right now, this restlessness that brought you to this video, this is not your imagination. This is pakad. You are being visited. You are being remembered. Something that was being prepared in silence is now starting to move. Here I need to pause and make an important observation, because there is research from the University of São Paulo, conducted by the Institute of Psychology, which showed that Brazilian adults between 45 and 60 years old report with high-frequency episodes of biographical re-evaluation, moments in which the person, for no apparent reason, starts to review their own history. The research associates these episodes with healthy psychological transition phases, which precede important reorganizations of identity. In other words, the awakening is not madness, it is documented. Fiocruz, in studies on mental health in midlife, recorded that adults who managed to do this biographical re-evaluation intentionally, attributing meaning to past events, show significantly lower levels of anxiety and depression. Those who cannot do this rereading tend to get stuck in a pattern of rumination, that waking up in the middle of the night, going over old decisions, which you may have heard of and which is probably familiar to you. There is even a concept in narrative psychology, developed mainly by Dan McAdams from Northwestern University, called narrative coherence. He studied for decades how people construct meaning in their own lives and discovered the following. People who can reinterpret difficult events as part of a larger story, with purpose and direction, show higher levels of well-being and life satisfaction. People who get stuck in the interpretation of "I failed" or "I was wronged" tend to develop chronic depressive states. Meaning, science is saying that what the Bible taught millennia ago about Pecado and Kairos has measurable psychological effects. When you look at your history and see purpose where before you only saw accident, something changes in your nervous system. It is not empty metaphysics, it is real reorganization. And that is why the second character I want to introduce to you is so powerful. His name is Jose, the son of Jacob, the one with the dreams. Jose's story is perhaps the most explicit example of Pecado and Kairos working together in the Old Testament. Jose was 17 when his brothers sold him as a slave. He had dreams of greatness since he was a child. He knew deep down that he had a calling. But what happened in his life from then on seemed to disprove everything. He was a slave in Potiphar's house. He rose up there. He was falsely accused of harassment by Potiphar's wife. He went to jail. There in jail, he interpreted the dreams of two prisoners. One of the prisoners, the Pharaoh's cupbearer, promised he would speak of him when he got out. Then this cupbearer got out of jail. He forgot about Jose. For 2 years. Imagine 2 years. 2 years waiting for an answer that didn't come. 2 years seeing a plan apparently fail. 2 years questioning if God had forgotten him. But in Genesis chapter 41, Pharaoh has 2 dreams that no one can interpret. And then the cupbearer remembers Jose. Jose is taken out of jail. He interprets the dreams. He is made governor of Egypt, the second man in the kingdom, at 30 years old. 13 years after having been sold by his own brothers. And then comes the point I want to show you. Way at the end in Genesis chapter 50, after his father dies, his brothers are afraid of revenge. Jose speaks a phrase that changes everything. He says in verse 20, "You in fact intended evil against me, but God turned it into good to do what is seen this day, to keep many people alive." Look at what Jose did. He didn't deny the pain. He didn't pretend he wasn't betrayed. He didn't romanticize the suffering. But he read his story again in the key of Pecado. He understood, retrospectively, that every stop he had was preparation. Potiphar's house was where he learned administration. The jail was where he learned dream interpretation. The 2-year wait was where he learned patience. When his Kairos arrived, he was ready. You are not behind. You're in training. And at some point in your life, maybe now, maybe in 3 months, maybe next year, a Pharaoh will come needing an interpretation that only you can give, because only you have been through what you have been through. If this resonated with you, leave a like on this video. It is not my vanity to ask. It is the YouTube algorithm that works this way. When you like, this video reaches more people who are feeling what you are feeling right now. You help another brother or sister who is waking up in the middle of the night today without knowing why. Now I want to introduce you to the third story, because it answers a specific question. How to recognize Kairos when it is happening and not just after. The story is in Luke chapter 24. It is the road to Emmaus. It was Resurrection Sunday. 2 disciples, shaken by Jesus' death on the cross, were returning from Jerusalem to a village called Emmaus. They walked sadly, talking about everything that had happened. And at a certain moment, a man approaches and starts walking with them. It was the resurrected Jesus, but they didn't recognize him. The text says that their eyes were restrained from recognizing him. They walked for hours with him. They talked about the scriptures. Jesus explained to them from beginning to end all the prophecies about the Messiah. It was one of the greatest theology lessons in history, given by the owner of the story himself. And they didn't realize who it was. Only at dinner time, when he broke the bread, their eyes were opened and they recognized him, and he vanished from their sight. The Greek word used here for recognize is epiginosko, written epiginosko, which is an intensified form of knowing. It is a full knowing, a total discerning. It is not just identifying visually, it is understanding the complete meaning. And then comes the detail that will mark you. After he vanishes, the two disciples look at each other and say something that has massive spiritual weight. They say, "Did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us on the way, and while he opened the scriptures to us?" Meaning, the sign was there the whole time. The burning heart. The internal feeling that that conversation was different. But they only understood the meaning afterwards. They were only able to name what was happening when the event had already passed. Does this remind you of anything? That conversation that kept echoing. That person who appeared in your life at a strange moment and told you something specific. That obstacle that took you off one route and put you on another. That recurring dream. That tightness in your chest when you passed by a certain place. The burning heart is a language, and you have been learning this language without realizing it. What you are calling being behind is, in fact, the awakening to this language. Here I want you to do one thing. Before continuing to the solution part, go to the comments and write a word in capital letters. I want you to write awakened. Just that, in big letters. As a declaration. You are not asking. You are affirming. You are fixing this identity at the moment you recognize what is happening. Why does this matter? Because the act of declaring changes something. Research from the APA, the American Psychological Association, shows consistently that declarative statements made in the first person and in a community context activate regions of the brain associated with commitment and self-regulation. It is not mysticism. It is neuroscience. When you write awakened publicly, you are making a pact with yourself not to return to the old interpretation of your history. So do this now. Pause, go to the comments, write awakened and come back. I'll wait for you. Now, with all of this on the table, let's get to the most practical part. The solution, because diagnosis without application is useless information. There are 4 things you need to start doing starting today. Not tomorrow, today. The first thing is to stop measuring your life in chronos. I know it seems simple, but it is the hardest thing on this list. You need to, consciously, stop comparing your timeline with others. Every time you open a social network and feel that tightness of so-and-so has already arrived and I still haven't, you need to stop and remember, chronos is not the metric, kairos is. You were not made to run someone else's race. You were made to run your own, and your race has the rhythm that God determined, not the rhythm of your cousin, your college classmate, your neighbor. The second thing is to do what I call a biographical inventory. Get a notebook, those cheap little notebooks you buy at any newsstand, and make a list. In one column, events in your life that you considered defeats, delays, missed opportunities. In the other column, next to each one, write what you learned from that, what skill you acquired, what discernment you gained, what that took away from you that needed to be taken away. Do this slowly, without rush. It can take days, it can take weeks. The goal is not to rush clarity. The goal is to train your eyes to read your history in the key of Packard. This exercise, from the point of view of McAdams' narrative psychology, is exactly what builds biographical coherence. And biographical coherence, according to his research, is one of the strongest predictors of well-being and purpose in adults over 40. The third thing is to develop what I call the triple test of Kairos. When you feel an internal direction, an intuition, a pull, you don't act right away. You test it in 3 areas. First area, Scripture. Is what you are feeling as a direction in harmony with the character of God revealed in the Bible? If it is, follow it. If it isn't, discard it without hesitation. Second area, wise counsel. Do you have at least 2 or 3 spiritually mature people in your life that you can talk to openly? Not the sycophants, not those who will agree with everything, people who will tell you the truth. Share with them what you are feeling. See what they reflect back. Third area, inner peace. Don't confuse peace with the absence of fear. You can be afraid and have peace. Peace in the biblical sense is the Hebrew word shalom, written shalvom, which means integrity, wholeness, completeness. Do you feel that that direction integrates you or fragments you? Does it give you wholeness or divide you? If scripture, wise counsel, and inner peace converge, you are looking at a kairos. You can move. The fourth thing is the most important, and it is where most people fail. When the kairos converges, you need to have the courage to obey, even if it seems absurd, even if it seems like you are behind, even if no one around you understands. Remember Esther? She had to go before the king without being called, risking her life. She could have stayed thinking, oh, better wait a little longer. Her kairos would have passed. Her people would have been exterminated. The story wouldn't have happened. Remember Jose? When Pharaoh called, he didn't say, look, I was wronged, I need time to recompose myself before serving this Egypt that imprisoned me unjustly. He acted immediately because he recognized the kairos. The disciples of Emmaus, after they recognized Jesus, that very hour, the text says, they returned to Jerusalem, that very hour, not the next day, not after resting, that very hour. When the kairos converges in your life, you cannot postpone it. The window has a deadline, the hair is on the front, the back is bald. Before I close this video, turn on the notification bell. I will be releasing in the next few days content about the 3 specific spiritual traps that appear exactly when you are about to enter your kairos. You cannot miss this one, especially after everything you just understood here. Whoever misses it will regret it. Turn on the bell. And pay attention now, because I want to give you one last thing. You didn't arrive at this video by chance. I don't believe in coincidence, and after everything we talked about, you shouldn't believe in it anymore either. There is something in you that had been asking for this conversation for a long time. And today, on some level, you were pakad, you were visited, but the visitation doesn't end here. The visitation is the beginning. What comes next depends on you. It depends on the willingness you will have to look at your history with new eyes. It depends on the courage you will have to declare awakened without turning back. It depends on the faithfulness you will have to follow the triple convergence instead of following the opinion of others. You are not behind. You are ready. Your baggage that seemed like a weight was preparation. The people who appeared with messages you didn't understand were messengers who will make sense in retrospect. The obstacles that took you off the planned route were course corrections to a better destination. Share this video now with at least 2 people you know are waking up in the middle of the night feeling lost. You know who they are. Probably the name of one of them already appeared in your head while I was speaking. Don't ignore this impulse. Send the video. You might be the messenger that this person needed to find today. And don't forget to write awakened in the comments, in capital letters, as a declaration, as a fixation, so you don't turn back. In the next video, I will open up something that few people have the courage to touch. The 3 specific spiritual traps that appear exactly when you are about to enter your kairos. Because yes, there is resistance. There is a pattern of self-sabotage that activates in those who have been awakened. And if you don't know how to identify these traps, you might get to the door and not cross it. I will give you the 3 specific names of these traps with biblical and psychological basis and what to do in each one. Turn on the bell now to be notified when this next content comes out, because it is the direct continuation of this one.
Attention, you need to prepare now. I put together an exclusive resource for those who feel set apart for something greater, but live surrounded by noise, distractions, and mental overload. This is a 30-day journey that will transform your life, a guided path to armor your mind and prepare for what's coming, with daily practices of focus, boundaries, and discipline. Stop negotiating with the noise. Learn to spot distractions before they control you and strengthen your mind. Also available in an immersive audio version. Over 10,000 readers have already transformed their lives through the 30-day journey. Thousands of people have already started this transformation. People like you, who were tired of living in the fog, ordinary people who decided to stop accepting mental chaos. Take advantage of this limited time offer only this month. Access your link just below in the pinned comment.